So have you ever dealt with anxiety or depression? Because I have.
I've dealt with depression, but how would you deal with anxiety?
So I think anxiety can be a lot of different things because for people, some people just have a condition with anxiety, but I also think some people just have moments where they feel anxious. And one of the things I learned is to learn like what is the difference between having anxiety and just having a moment of being anxious. Um, Being anxious is something that comes and goes. And so, for instance, I would say, you're scared your dog's going to get run over, and you're anxious about that. But then you realize your dog's not going to get run over, and then that anxiousness goes away. So it's like situational. But anxiety would be like you're scared your dog's going to get run over, and you feel anxious. Then you learn, oh, my dog's not going to get run over. But then you have something else where your mind jumps to now you're not anxious about your dog getting run over. Now you're anxious about your cat getting run over. And it's just this ongoing loop of your brain just jumps to something. So, what I would say for both people, if you're struggling with anxiety or you're just being anxious, is to really in those moments learn to trust the Lord. One of my favorite Bible verses was Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And so that is the idea of that verse is to really, really learn what it means to trust God. And so when you trust in God, you're taking the weight that's on you, the weight of the world or the weight of a situation that's creating that anxiety or the anxiousness, and you're learning to put it on the Lord. And many times in the scripture it talks like about, don't worry and don't. Jesus said, "Don't concern yourself for tomorrow, for today has enough troubles of itself." In Matthew 6, another verse is where it says to cast your cares on Him. In 1 Peter 5, it says to cast your cares on Jesus, and so because He cares for you, And so it's like I think that doesn't always make your anxiety completely go away, but learning to discipline yourself in that way, what it does do is it helps to refocus your brain because anxiety is in your mind, right? That's where it's happening. And I love the scripture. I can't remember the address of it, but it says to take your thoughts captive. And and I think that's important when you're in having moments of anxiety is to still your make yourself to be still and think about like instead of me thinking about this and being worried about this, like put your mind on Christ, put your mind on the Lord, and think about Him. Think about what it means to walk in faith. Think about how God is trustworthy, how He's over and over again in your life been trustworthy. Or maybe you don't know that God's trustworthy. Spend some time thinking about and learning about how God is trustworthy. And it's hard to be doing those things and to also be consumed with anxiety. So that's what I've told people. That's what I've done, and it seems to work. And I really encourage you if you're struggling with anxiety, give it a try and trust in the Lord.
Now, what about like stress or something that you're extremely worried about? How would you say you should deal with that?
Yeah, so I think stress is something that we all deal with, and I've learned some stress is actually good. So, like for instance, like if you want to be really good at making videos, there should be some level of stress that you feel like I want to do this better. I want to get better at this, and it creates like this sense of unsettledness that can be stressful. Like you have like this urge to like grow. That's a good stress. But where stress becomes a problem is when it starts controlling your life. Like like it just takes over. And I would say in that moment, that's where you got to decide, like, are you going to allow the things of life to control your life, or would you rather give God control over your life? And that's always a moment of clarity where you have to decide, like, okay, I need to put my faith in God, trust in Him, and not be stressed out about all this other stuff in my life. And trust God, He'll come through.
Now, what about depression or something or just like something hard that they're going through? How would you say you deal with that?
Yeah, so depression is a really tricky thing. That's something I've dealt with since I was a teenager. And I the thing that has helped me most is I focus on 5 things. Make sure that I'm getting enough sleep, because if you don't get sleep, your body's not healthy, and it just makes everything worse. Depression, anxiety, and the whole list. All right. I also try to focus on eating healthy, because eating healthy food is a way to put good nutrients and it's like medicine, man. Putting good food in your body is like putting medicine in your body. Then I try to exercise, like get outside. Sunlight has vitamin D that has been proven to help with depression a lot. And for me, working, like where I can work up a sweat, it actually releases endorphins in your body that really help reduce that feeling of feeling depressed. And so working, running, sweating, that really helps me. And then the other 2 things is like, all right, doing things I love, like re-engage in hobbies and activities that bring joy to me, even when I don't feel like it. Like I need to force myself to go do things, because when I'm depressed, I don't want to do anything. And then the last thing is like, when I'm depressed, I don't want to be around people, but I have to make myself be around people, because being around people actually is what helps break me out of that season of depression. And it's good for you to know when people care about you and people love you. Like it's healing to experience that and feel that. And so I think God has created us where those things really help us in our, taking care of ourselves.
Now, how would you say about like addiction, like porn, drugs, partying, alcohol, that form of stuff? How would you say you should deal with that?
Yeah, I think the word that comes to my mind is surrender. Many people try to fight those battles on their own strength and their own power. And as a Christian, we all struggle with things. But what I've seen and what I believe the scripture teaches us is that those are the things in your life where you have to surrender and allow God's power and God's strength to overcome those things. Because in ourselves, we can't do it. But with God, all things are possible.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick, for coming out with us today.
Appreciate
And I
it.
hope you have a great day.
You too. See you guys.
See you.